when we have been with a narcissist for a really long time, something happens that is really painful. We are starting to lose ourselves in such a way that it feels like we're completely lost and we're confused. We don't know who we are anymore. And this happens because to stay safe with a narcissist, we have to work around them in such a way that we don't provoke them. Now our life is not about us anymore, what we need, what we feel, what we enjoy, but our life really is only about walking on eggshells around the narcissist so that we don't provoke them, trying to please them, trying to appease them. And so no wonder that we lose the sense of who we are, because it really hasn't been about us at all anymore for maybe years. And so this feeling of being confused and being lost can be so acute that it is really, really scary. And that we cry a lot, because it is so unbearable to not even feel anymore who we are, to not know who we are. This is the basis of feeling human and feeling alive, and also feeling joy. So when we feel like this, it's like the core of who we are has been damaged or destroyed. And what I want you to know is that core is still there. It's just buried under a lot of terrible experiences which have caused great pain. And so the work will be to rebuild that core, to redevelop that core, to fortify it, because the core is still there, but there will be a rebuilding of trust in ourselves. And the way we need to go about this is we need to develop a relationship with ourselves. And this is kind of like a baby step program, one step at a time. It is best not to expect too much in the beginning, but to really just focus on getting to know ourselves again. In this pain, right now we are in this pain, it is there. There's a lot of sorrow, there are a lot of feelings, there's a lot of confusion. But we need to get to know ourselves in that place of confusion. And as we get to know ourselves in that place of pain and sadness and confusion, our core will be rebuilt through that getting to know ourselves. So there's actually an incredible opportunity here to get to know ourselves in a way that we would not have gotten ourselves to know in any other ways if we weren't forced to do so. So these will be baby steps here. What you can do is simply check in with yourself how you're feeling, because when we were with a narcissist, feeling ourselves was really not possible. It was all about feeling the narcissist, feeling what they wanted, feeling what they needed. So now we need to turn the focus around. Even if in the beginning what we're going to feel is difficult and uncomfortable. But we need to remember that those feelings will not go away unless we actually pay attention to them. So as hard as it is, we need to connect with how we're feeling now. So if you can take a moment and close your eyes and check in with yourself, and maybe just try and wrap some words around how you're feeling. Maybe it's confusion, maybe it's feeling lost, maybe it's feeling lonely, maybe it's feeling sad, maybe it's feeling angry. Whatever it is that's coming up, that's what you need to connect with first. And once you connect with it, something else will surface. So we need to learn actually to feel again, because the other thing that happens when we are with a narcissist in order to protect ourselves is that we need to shut down some of those feelings so they aren't so overwhelming and strong that we can't function anymore. So slowly, bit by bit, we have to start to feel again. We have to decide that we want to be in our body again. And so another way that you can check in with yourself is to scan through your body and say, what do I feel in my body? Is there any tension? Is there any expansion? Is there any warmth? Is there any coldness? We need to open up to feeling again. You can do this by journaling. We can connect beautifully with ourselves if we start to journal and just write down what we're feeling. So, starting to feel is the first step. And if there's a fear of feeling, then we work with the fear of feeling. Then we get to know the part of ourselves that is afraid. And we can have a conversation with that part. I often speak about developing a relationship with all the parts that live inside of us, all the feelings and all the thoughts. So if there's a fear of feeling all those feelings, then we can connect with that fear. And we can imagine the part of us that is afraid. And we can have a conversation with it. And we can ask it questions. We can say, okay, tell me, what exactly are you afraid of? And then you might want to journal or speak out loud. And maybe the answer will be, I'm afraid that if I allow myself to feel again, I will fall apart. And then we can ask the question to the answer, what are you afraid would happen if you fell apart? And then we listen to the answer. We can write down the answer. Maybe the answer is, I'm afraid that a part of me will die. And I will never be able to get up again and live a normal life. I'm afraid I will be too sad. And so by having a conversation, we're starting to develop a relationship. And maybe right now you cannot really imagine how this could possibly help, but I can tell you that it will help. You need to start talking with yourself again, centering on you, paying attention to you, being curious about you. It's the relationship with you that will rebuild that core that we need. And from there are many other steps to take. But this is, I think, an important first one. Another beautiful way of connecting to yourself again is through nature. We can walk through a park, we can walk through a forest or by water, and by just being in the beauty of nature, we can connect to ourselves and to that part that is soothed by being in nature. And so there again, we can have a conversation about, how do I feel when I sit with this tree? How do I feel when I am beside water? It is soothing. What about it is soothing? Well, it keeps moving. I want to move with it. I don't know what it is that comes up for you, but everything we do needs to be about you. Building a relationship with you. And over time, that paying attention to yourself is a form of love. It is a form of unconditional love. And it will feed you, it will nourish you, because now at least you have yourself. There is mourning to be done in this relationship also. We cannot skip the mourning, we cannot skip the sadness, we cannot skip the anger. And I know we really want to come out the other side as fast as we can, but we cannot skip those feelings because they will always be there until we have faced them and dealt with them, gotten to know them, have spoken to them, and hear what they have to say. So speak with the part of you that is crying. It's obviously mourning. It is intensely sad about something. Let it say what it is sad about. You can ask it. What are you crying about? You're so sad. I can see that. I can feel it. What are you sad about? And then let that part of you speak all the things that it's sad about. It will release a lot of stuck energy. It will allow you to move through the sadness and come out the other side. And no one knows how long your sadness is going to last. Everyone has a different timing. But what I know is that if we can surrender to crying, if we can surrender to the sadness, if we can surrender to being confused and experience confusion, something magical happens. Something shifts inside of us. Something transforms. So you don't need to fight the confusion. You don't need to fight the feeling that you don't know yourself. Be with those thoughts and the feelings of not knowing yourself. Surrender to them all the way. And I know that some people are scared that they will get stuck in it. That is actually something that is very natural. It happens to me still every single time when I experience a strong emotion. That there's a moment when the fear comes up, that if I let myself surrender to whatever that is, I will get stuck in it and I will never come out the other side. That fear always is there. I don't know why. But I know now through years of experience that if I surrender to the feeling of confusion or to the fear of not knowing who I am, if I surrender to it fully and I let myself experience what that is like, to not know who I am, or to be so sad, or to be so incredibly afraid of losing something, that I come to a magical place where there is the acceptance of feeling these intense emotions. And then there's an insight. And there's a wisdom. And with that wisdom that we only see at the end of that deep dark tunnel comes a transformation that is permanent. And now that sadness is not the same anymore. Now we can be with it, and it has transformed us. And through experiencing that sadness or that confusion or that not knowing who we are, we now know more about who we are. We have experienced who we are in not knowing who we are. That is huge. And it is really nearly impossible to explain this in words, because this is something you will have to experience for yourself. And so maybe you can find the courage to surrender to whatever is, so that you can get to know yourself again in a new way, and in a deeper way, and in a really profound way that will lift you up and show you joy again, because on the other side of the deepest sadness lies the greatest joy. And this sounds just like words, but it is true. If you walk through the tunnel of sadness all the way to the end, you will find a joy that is greater than you have ever thought possible. And so if you want to do this work with me, you can reach out. That is what I do. I help people experience deep transformation. So reach out or do this exercise on your own. Grab a journal. You can do all of this on your own as well. So I hope this helps.